Moren.
Good morning, Your Honor. We are hearing case 25 CR 296, State of Ohio versus Demetrius G. Moren. Present in court is a defendant who is accompanied by his attorney, Mr. William Watson. We were previously here on May 6, 2025. At that time, the defendant entered a plea of guilty to a lesser included offense of count 1, attempted aggravated possession of drugs, a felony of the 5th degree. This case was referred to the Lake County Adult Probation Department for a pre-sentence investigation and report. That report has been prepared. The state has had an opportunity to review that report, and the state is ready to proceed with sentencing. There are 49 days of jail time credit.
All right, Mr. Watson.
Thank you, Your Honor. May it please the court. Mr. Moren is a gentleman that does have a drug problem. I know that there were statements made to probation, but I've also had contact with Mr. Moren, and I think he realizes after reflecting on our conversation that, you know, maybe the root cause of his problem is drugs and alcohol. Mr. Moren, since he's posted bond, got out. He was working. Granted, it was not through a real company, but he was helping a gentleman clean out houses and abandoned buildings, and he was getting paid for his work. So he was doing that up until just a few days ago. Mr. Moren explained to me that the gentleman who was doing this just passed away. It was an older gentleman. Since then, earlier this week, Mr. Moren indicated that he reached out to a temp agency. So he immediately is trying to find alternative employment. He has been testing clean, Your Honor. He has not been using drugs. I know he's got a very long history of this, but he has been sober. And Mr. Moren has told me that he would love an opportunity at community control. I think he's already shown the court in the little bit of time he's been out on bond that he can do what needs to be done. And if the court will consider a community control sanction for him, I think the structure will be helpful for Mr. Moren and give him hopefully the direction that he needs to really take that next step and get hopefully a permanent full-time job and whatever else the court deems necessary, including a treatment program, Your Honor. So I'm going to respectfully ask the court to consider community control sanction. Thank you.
Mr. Moren, what do you want to tell them?
I just want to let you know I apologize to the courts for my actions. I take full responsibility, and here is want to know if I can get probation. I appreciate it, and to further my life and do better. Because after this 45 days or 49, I've been doing better and trying to work and do the right thing. And I see clearly now that I have made a mistake, and I just want to do better.
What are you going to do about the drug problem?
I mean, since the days I was in jail, I left them alone. I don't do drugs no more. It woke my eyes up. They helped me out. Okay. I don't look at it. I don't get easy misled. I don't do none of that no more. I'm just trying to do the right thing.
What's going on with that driving under the influence case in Berea Court?
That happened like a few months right before I got called with this case, and then I've been handling that too. So I'm gonna be.
Is it over yet?
No.
What's it set for? Is it set for a hearing?
I mean, it's over. I just got to pay $80 a month and do a remedial class.
When did you finish that case?
I didn't finish it. I'm still
When did you plead on the case?
Oh, I plead like two weeks ago, like 2-3 weeks ago.
What did you have to go to jail for it?
No.
What did you have to do?
I did a day, and I got out for a personal bond. And then when I went back, I got to do a class, basically a class to pay the money.
3-day class?
Yes, the 3-day class in the hotel.
When you doing that?
Hopefully the next couple of weeks. I got like a month to do that. So I'm going to get that out the way. Just trying to clear my mind and get my mind, get a better job.
What are you going to do for work?
Probably go back to the cheesecake. That's what I did when I got out of prison. I worked at the cheesecake, and I worked there for 2 years. So
what'd you do there?
So I was a cook, cleaner, and I did dishwashing too.
Okay. All right, because you got to do something besides what you had been doing. Okay? You got to do something is gonna benefit you in the long run. Anything else you wanna tell me?
I just feel like I'm doing better. And I see, I see clearly now. I will do better. I appreciate you if you can, be a little lenient on me. I'm definitely gonna do better now.
All right, Ms. Himmeline?
Thank you, Your Honor. Based on the facts and circumstances of the case, the state does recommend that the court impose a sentence in this case of community control sanctions with treatment. Thank you.
Judge, Mr. Moren's on the line to address the court if he could.
All right, just tell me your name and say whatever it is you want me to hear.
Stand up.
Yeah, go ahead.
My name is Vicento Mitchell, and I'm his father's nephew. He's been with me. He's been with us since he's been a baby. I'll just kind of sum it up because I'm a sickly type person, so I'm going to kind of sum it up. He's been raised correctly, but somehow along the line he got with the wrong crowd down through the years. He come from a praying family, a spiritual family. My grandmother had the gift of laying on hands, and she laid hands on all of us. And sometimes we do detour, and that's what he did. But I can say when I picked him up this morning, my observation of him was much different. It was I felt in my spirit that he was ready to take on some responsibility and do something different, do something great for himself in life. God's been good to him, and God's been good to us. And I'm looking forward at his age now. Let's go to the top, there's no bottom. We've spoken to him, my mother and the aunties, uncles, we've dealt with him, he's with us. And we're looking for him this round at his age to be much better. That's why I'm here. I've never done this before. I'm a retired school teacher, came out of SSI, got sick. I taught school for 25 years, so I have observations, I have discernment of children, adults, people in general. I have a gift, period, even before education, of discernment of people. So my discernment of him that he just got strayed away along the wrong people. And you have to have a strong mind to come back where his foundation is. And that is God and family.
Thank you. All right, I have reviewed the pre-sentence report, listened to Mr. Moren, listened to his uncle, listened to Ms. Himmeline, Mr. Watson, and I considered all the provisions in 29, 29, 11, 12, and 13. Well, you've been straying. You're 43 now. Straying's gotta be over with.
Yes, sir.
Does your son live with you too?
Yes.
Okay, he's 23.
Yes.
What's he doing?
He works
Where's he work?
at a factory.
He's doing a great job, Judge. His son's doing a great job and taking care of his children, driving a nice car. He took the advice that my mother and his grandfather told him. He's trying. I give it to him. He's working.
All right. It's time to get it together. I'll put you on community control for 2 years, 49 days with credit for 49. I want you to go out and get a drug and alcohol evaluation. You find a place, you get the evaluation, you be honest with them, and then you're to follow whatever recommendations they make. Because if your history indicates it, I don't think you can do this on your own without getting some help and some tools to use when you're tempted to use again, okay? Because you've been using a long time. So get the evaluation and follow the recommendations. You're to have no drugs or alcohol, and you'll be screened. And you're gonna get, obtain and maintain full employment, and that means verifiable employment, no more under-the-table stuff. If you wanna go back and cook, if that's what you wanna do, then do that, but make it a full-time devotion in your life. Any other terms, Ms. Warren?
You would like to consider a decision point, Your Honor?
No. You understand all the terms?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, if you violate, you've been around long enough to know if you violate, then, and I find you violated, then you face 12 months in prison. You understand that?
Yes, I do. Yes, Your Honor.
Anything else, Ms. Himmeline?
Just bond, Your Honor.
released. Anything else, Mr. Watson?
Nothing further, Your
All
Honor.
right, time to get on to something productive, Mr. Marine.
Sorry. Appreciate you.
If you need to know where to go for that eval, call our office. Her name is Erin. I'm gonna write her name on here.
All right, everybody. While they do some swapping, got a lot of Judge O'Donnell tonight. Thank you for coming out. I'll go ahead and hit pause so I can
Time of
babble.
sentencing, do you understand I don't?
Thank you guys for coming out, and thank you for watching the show. Good to see everybody. We'll jump back into Judge O'Donnell. He does a bunch of sentencing. It works out good for us.
Here today for sentencing in the state of Ohio versus Rashia Vanderhorst, case number 24 CR 618. Ms. Vanderhorst is present in open court today with her attorney, Ms. Nicolette Tomazik. At the last proceeding, Your Honor, which was held May 6th this year, the defendant pled guilty to one count, that being escape, felony 5, under 2921.34A1. Your Honor accepted the plea and ordered that the defendant undergo a PSR evaluation. As well, you also ordered, Your Honor, a victim impact statement. We have read the PSR report, Your Honor. We are ready for sentencing. There is no prior agreement as to sentencing. Finally, Your Honor, it appears the defendant has 61 days of jail time served. Thank you.
Ms. Tomaszek,
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. We would like to ask the court today to place Ms. Vanderhorst on probation. And speaking with Ms. Vanderhorst, she is ready to get home to her children. She does have 4 children. Her son is 12 years old, but he does live with his dad. Her 3 younger children are age 6, 8, and 9. They're currently with her mom in her care. It's been a bit of a struggle for her mom because her mom's a little bit older. And speaking of Ms. Vanderhorst, she does have a plan in place for herself if you were to allow her an opportunity on community control. She did enroll in Edwin's courses. It's for culinary arts. She indicated to me she completed the online portion. There's still the in-person portion to do. She indicated she wanted to stay on campus in the area because it will assist, the way the course is set up, it assists her with more than just the courses. She also has been in contact with an individual with the reentry program in Cuyahoga County. She indicated to me her name is Miss Chris. Miss Chris will help her with assisting with housing and jobs. She currently does have an apartment, but I do believe she does want to try to get out of the area and get into an apartment and wants to get her life together, be there for her daughter. She wants to work. She wants to be a successful member of society. So, Your Honor, if you would allow her a chance on probation. I know she is currently on probation in Cuyahoga County as well. She's required to report every 6 months. I did indicate to Ms. Vanderhorst that if you were to place her on probation,
you report when?
once every 6 months, Your
What, are you
Honor.
shitting me? What the hell is that?
Your Honor, I explained to her that Cuyahoga County and Lake County with probation are much different. I advised her Lake County.
What are the terms of probation in Cuyahoga?
I don't know the terms off the
This
top.
is for the F4 burglary?
Yes,
Report every 6 months.
yes.
Oh, there it is. 20 hours of community service. Jesus, they're working too hard down there. I don't know how they can keep up with, how do they keep up with the caseload? Go ahead.
So, Your Honor, I indicated to Ms. Vanderhorst,
Jesus Christ.
even though she's on probation in Cuyahoga County, Lake County has a very different dynamic. She is willing to do
I
absolutely
mean,
anything.
they don't want to do anything with her, they just want to get her off of probation. That's their goal. Regardless of whether she does anything.
Yep, and she indicated to me she needs the assistance, she needs the help. She wants to get her life on track. She's trying to be as proactive as she can be on her own. So I think the assistance with the Lake County Probation Department would be very beneficial to her. She indicated she might have some difficulty with transportation, but I explained that she could take the bus, Uber. She is willing to do whatever she needs to do to make sure she makes it out to Lake County. Like I said, she wants to be able to be there for her kids, be a good example for her kids, and she wants to be able to succeed. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Vanderhorst, what do you want to tell me?
I first want to apologize. I feel, I can't explain, it's shameful with my decisions. You know, I've been away from my kids for all this year, and it hurts, you know, for me to make dumb decisions. And now they have to deal with my presence being gone, and it just was the dumbest decision I could have ever made. And
Well, tell me about what you were doing that day.
Well, I told my sister I didn't want to go to Walmart. She was like, well, just come on. So I'm like, okay, I went. And then, you know, didn't have a job, so I was trying to get the bare minimum from my apartment. I went in, I took 2 items, well, attempted to take 2 items. I took a TV and an air mattress. And I left the air mattress on the
What kind of
property.
TV?
A TV for your home, like a 32-inch, I think.
Okay.
And my sister's like, the police are coming. I'm like, what? So, you know, I attempted to run, but I was kind of out of breath, so they found me in someone's shed.
Didn't take them very long to find you.
No, and then they arrested me. I came here, then I got into the police car. I don't know what I was thinking. Handcuffs was loose. I said, well, okay, I'll just slip them off a little bit. And then I had held the window down, and I stuck my arm out. I was dumb decision, and opened the car door, but my arm got stuck. So then they tried to break my arm to get it back in, and that's how I caught the escape charge.
Where did you think you were gonna go?
I don't even know. Because it was like I had just got out of county. I wasn't even out 7 days. So my anxiety kicked in, and I was like, oh my God, I can't go back to jail. I don't want to go back to jail. I don't know where I was going, Your Honor, to be honest. I just was not thinking at the time. I was just reacting. Scared.
What happened with this Cuyahoga charge that happened on January 3rd of this year?
I was at a friend's house, and the police came knocking on the door, and of course I had a warrant for you guys. They had apprehended me, and I caught a couple charges. They dropped most of them, and I sat in the county for 3.5 months till April 25th. Then Lake County came and got me, and then I came here.
Okay, so what drugs did you have on this Cleveland one?
It was cocaine.
Okay. Why did you have cocaine?
Well, I was using someone's, at the wrong place at the wrong time. I wasn't thinking. I should have kind of,
How long have you been using cocaine?
like a year.
A year?
Yeah.
Why'd you start using?
Depressed, stressed out, financial, I was in a bad space at the time. I was in a bad space.
Did the cocaine make it better?
Actually, Your Honor, it really made it worse, to be honest with you.
I'm shocked at that.
I thought it made it better, but it didn't, you know? I'm a feelings user, so it was like trying to numb the pain, but it actually made my life and my situation way worse.
Where do you live?
I stay on Cedar, downtown, on 30th and Cedar.
Who do you live with?
I stay by myself. I have my own apartment.
Okay, what about your kids? Where do they live?
They're with my mom. They're with my mom right now, but they stay with me.
Where does she live?
She stays on 138th and Kinsman.
Where do they go to school?
They go to school off of Broadway Academy.
What grades are they in?
I'm sorry. My daughters will be in 3rd grade. The 9-year-old will be in 4th grade. My 8-year-old will be in 3rd grade, and my 6-year-old will be in 2nd grade.
Okay.
My son is about to be in 6th grade, I believe.
Why, a couple of years back, out of your Cuyahoga case, from 19 and from 20, you were in Cats, and you left there. Why'd you leave there?
I had left there because they had a point system, and I was at my max for the point system, so I was going to go back to Cuyahoga County. So I left. And
How do you get points for what?
It could be anything. It could be a write-up. It could be from out of area, not going to a group. It could be any sort of thing. It's like they have a 11-point system, you know. And I didn't want to go back to Cuyahoga County, so I left, and then I enrolled in Hitchcock.
And then what happened there?
I completed the program.
That's not what the information I get is you went AWOL from Hitchcock.
No. See, what had happened was I completed the sober living, the inpatient part, and I went to sober living. After I did a few months in sober living, because I had my kids there with me as well, I had left. I didn't know that I had to do the aftercare and all that stuff, because sober living was a part of my decision. I could have left when I graduated, because that's why they looked at my warrant, because I had graduated the inpatient part.
But you told me you'd only been using cocaine for a year,
Yes,
so this goes back to
2000, yeah, that's how I had to do treatment in lieu of conviction.
So what,
For those felonies to get off my record. I had picked treatment in lieu of conviction, so I had to go to a rehab.
how old are you?
32.
Okay, so you've been wasting a lot of time, right?
Yes.
I mean, like 10 years of time from your record, from smaller stuff up to bigger stuff. So why do you keep wasting time?
Your Honor, you know what?
How much time do you think there is?
Not a lot.
Okay,
Not a lot. And I've actually came to that conclusion. Like, I was in my cell and I said, you know what? I have wasted a lot of time. And it's kind of overwhelming because now I want to put all the pieces back together, and it's so many pieces to put together. And I'm only one person, so I can just do what I can. But I'm tired of wasting time. It's like 2025. My kids are not getting younger. They're getting older. I'm getting older. And I'm just tired of being the black sheep left behind. I want to do something with myself.
what?
I do want to go to school for culinary. I like cooking. I want to travel. I just want to live my life. I want my kids to be happy. I want to, what I'm saying? I want me to be happy, I want a bright future, I want to do something. I want to be able to take trips with no worries. I want to be able to go places and not look behind me and say, oh my God, I got to run. I just want to do the right thing. I'm tired. I can't take it no more.
All right, listen, you want to do a lot of stuff, but you can't do a lot of stuff unless you do a lot of stuff that allows you to do a lot of stuff. Okay? So you got to stop taking the drugs. You got to go to work every day. You got to take care of your kids because they're your kid. They're not your mother's kids, they're your kids. And then if you get into those good habits, then you can do all those lofty things that you want to do. Okay? But it ain't going to happen magically. So if you don't figure out how to stay away from the drugs, next time who'd you go to Walmart with?
My sister.
Next time your sister calls you to go to Walmart, you decide maybe that ain't a good idea this time.
Especially if I don't have the funds for it.
Right. Right. Because, look, I'm not, I'm gonna put you on probation, but you're gonna have to do stuff that's beneficial for you, not to please your probation officer, not to please me, not to please your attorney, but to benefit you. And you may think that because I'm not gonna give you 20 hours of community service and report every 6 months, okay?
That's fine.
Because when people come in here and they don't want to be set up for failure, that the translation there is that we're giving them too much to do on probation. The exact opposite is true. Cuyahoga sets you up for failure because they ain't making it be accountable for anything. Okay? I mean, you can find somebody in a coma, transport them to Cuyahoga every 6 months, and they've complied with probation. So you're gonna be given things that you have to abide by so that you succeed. So the next 10 years of your life aren't running in and out of muni courts and common pleas courts like the last 10 years. But you gotta determine you're gonna do it. Mr. Tavanche?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Just for the record, Your Honor, the state's position that the defendant, of course, will have some difficulty abiding rules of probation. She's been given chances before, and she hasn't fully lived up to them. She does have the PV in her past. Just to encapsulate, it appears that she has a history of trying to break free of legal constraints, both physical and abstract. In this case, as we know,
Unsuccessful history.
yes, and that's the point, Your Honor. And so I think I see what's coming. But if I may, in this case, we know that she not broke, but she slipped out of her cuffs and actually managed to get a foot out of a squad car. Your Honor mentioned cats. That actually occurred twice. She, I believe, actually absconded from cats twice, and then, of course, Hitchcock. And my feeling is that the defendant was not being truthful about why she left Hitchcock, or the circumstances under which she left. Defendant also has an escape adjudication as a juvenile when she left confinement facility. So altogether, doesn't seem very promising, but we will leave it, of course, to the discretion of the court. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, I reviewed the pre-sentence report, and listened to you, listened to counsel. I'm going to place you on 3 years of community control.
So does a judge like that during a sentencing like that, does he have any right to say anything about the kids? I'm just wondering if he has any right to, initiate a Children and Family Services investigation or anything like that. So who the heck knows? I just hate knowing that she's going back home to those kids. If she was only out for a week and went shoplifting with her sister, she damn sure don't need to be raising kids.
One, for a pretrial, you weren't here. So a warrant was issued. I reinstated your bond and reset the pretrial, and then 10 days after that, you didn't show again. And found you in Cuyahoga County 6 months later. So I'm putting you on probation. How can I be sure you're going to show up?
To be honest, Your Honor, I'm gonna try my hardest. If I could just, I'm gonna have to see if the courts will let me do it like afternoon time. I don't know how long it's gonna take on the bus to get out here. I don't have a vehicle. And I can't depend on nobody. I did that last time and I ended up missing my court date. So if I could just come in the afternoon, I'll make my way. If I gotta catch a million buses, I will, because I gotta start taking accountability somewhere. Start doing the right thing, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm only one person,
Now-
so I'll just communicate with the probation department and
I'm
see.
not gonna give you a plan that requires 2 people, just requires you. You need to take responsibility for you. It's nobody's responsibility to take care of you except you. So I'm gonna give you 61 days in jail with credit for 61, so you're gonna get out.
Thank you.
Now, I could keep you in there and make you do the treatment in there, okay? But I'm not gonna do that,
Thank you.
because I'm gonna make you go get some treatment, but you gotta get it. Okay? We're not doing it, nobody's doing it for you. It's your responsibility for you to get you treatment. So you're gonna go and get an evaluation for drugs and alcohol. And whatever they recommend as far as a treatment plan, that's what you're ordered to do.
Okay.
Now, every time I do that, in a case like this, the entire probation department, all 9 officers over there cringe because they don't think it's gonna amount to anything. But I figure it's not our job, okay, to beat this into your head about what you need to do. You need to find out what you need to do. Otherwise, we're just talking to a brick wall. So, unless you wanna do this shit some more for the next 10 years, you're gonna attempt to figure this out.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're to have no drugs or alcohol, and you'll be screened.
Okay.
You're going to obtain full employment. Okay, right now, you're telling me you're gonna go to Edwin's.
Mm-hmm.
So you're to be either full-time employed or full-time in school, or a combination that amounts to full-time.
Okay.
It's half school, then it's half work. Until you finish this schooling, and then you're to be full-time employed. How long is the Edwin's program?
It's up to 6 months, and then they have another course for business. I don't know if I was thinking about taking that because I do want to have my own little restaurant or something like that. So, but it's up to 6 months for the cooking part, the culinary part.
All right, well, first things first, okay?
Yeah.
When's the last time you had a driver's license? Have you ever had a driver's license?
Yes, I've had a license, maybe 2017 or 15 or 16.
All right, well, you're gonna get one.
Okay.
Can't do the decision points program, right? They don't have it for females? Every time I ask that question, it's my hope that somebody's gonna tell me, well, we just started one. The other thing I want you to do is are you taking mental health medication right now?
I'm supposed to, but no.
What are you supposed to be taking?
Prozac, Buspar, and that's it.
Who prescribes that?
I did when I was in CATS, I talked to, I think the lady was from Signature Health, psychologist.
Okay. So I want you to, when's the last time you saw a psychologist or psychiatrist for the purpose of the mental health medication?
It's been a couple of years.
Okay, so you're gonna also get a mental health evaluation again.
Okay.
To find out where you're currently at.
Okay.
And follow whatever recommendations they make.
Okay.
Now, you're only gonna see one doctor, and you're only gonna see one dentist, and one pharmacy for any medication you're prescribed. If you need to see another doctor for any reason, you need to tell your probation officer who that is so we know who it is.
Okay.
If you are prescribed medication, you're to take it only as prescribed.
Okay.
And you're gonna sign releases so probation department can get your records. Now, I'm not a doctor, but I do know that if you mix prescribed medication with stuff like cocaine and marijuana, it doesn't do any good. Understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Knaus, any other terms?
Your Honor, the defendant did express interest in obtaining the GED.
Is that true?
Yes, Your Honor.
You know what you should do then?
What?
Get your GED. Anything else, Mr. Tavanche?
Quick question, Your Honor, with regard to the GED, is that something that you would like? Thank you.
Nope, that's something she wants to do. She should do that for herself.
Thank you. Also, any language with regard to PRC, Your Honor?
Nope.
And dismissal of the balance?
Yep.
And bond, Your Honor?
Really?
Thank you.
Ms. Thomas?
I have nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you, Judge.
ball is in your court, Ms. Vanderhorst.
Thank you, Your Honor. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Your Honor. We're before you today on State versus Carlos Reic, file 25 CR 406. We're here today for a change of plea. It's anticipated by the state of Ohio that the defendant will withdraw his previously entered pleas of not guilty and enter a plea of guilty to count 1 and count 7, consolidated count 7, which would be the former count 6 in file 405. So we have a felony of the 2nd degree and a felony of the 3rd degree, and in exchange, the state of Ohio will ask this court to dismiss the remaining counts at sentencing. And there is also agreed a joint sentencing recommendation of 4 to 6 years that the state of Ohio anticipates at.
I don't know if y'all noticed the theme in this court. Everybody's ready to accept responsibility. Everybody's ready to change their life. Everybody's ready to turn it around. And everybody just got out of jail a week before they got arrested for the current crime they're telling the judges they're going to do good on this time. So it's all the same over and over.
Sentencing should nothing happen, like a bond violation occur or a new arrest. Declaring what's been spread upon the record, no threats or promises were made to this defendant to induce this plea. Thank you.
So it looks like we did it backwards.
What's that, Judge?
40, so we're going forward on 406. So we'll call it 405 being consolidated into 406.
Right.
Should be the other way around, but who cares?
Okay.
So it'll be count 1 and count 7 in 406.
So are we're doing 405 then?
The 405 indictment is the 1 count indictment, right? Or no?
406 is, Your Honor.
Okay, so 406. Okay, so we're going forward on 406. Count 1 is the one he's pleading to, and count 7 now will be the possession of cocaine, felony 3. Okay? I mean, that's what you said, but
Yeah.
we should have consolidated 6 and 5, but
I thought the order said it was into 6. That's why I did.
it shouldn't have been, but
Okay.
it doesn't really matter. All right, Mr. Mulkey?
Yes, Your Honor, that's all accurate with the additional information. My client, he understands the Regatoke's provisions for this agreement. He's been in constant contact with me. I've conferenced with him multiple times. Furthermore, Your Honor, my understanding is he'll have 4 days of jail time credit, assuming he continues to abide by his bond conditions from April 22nd, 25 to April 25th, 2025. It's my understanding the court will be ordering a pre-sentence report with a sentencing date set of August 27th at 10 a.m. My client is currently undergoing physical therapy, so that would also give him an opportunity to continue and to hopefully complete that by the time of sentencing. Your Honor, furthermore, I notarized and witnessed my client sign the affidavit of indigency, asking to take care of any mandatory fines. In this case, Your Honor, I gave that to the court staff for filing, so we'd ask the court to also consider doing that as well at the time of sentencing. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Reddick, how old are you?
I'm 28 years old, Your Honor.
How far did you go through school?
I have a GED. I completed 10th grade and dropped out at 11th.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, I am, Your
Are
Honor.
you able to read, write, understand the English language?
Yes, I am, Your Honor.
All right. Prior to coming to court, have you taken any drugs or alcohol or any prescription medication in the last 48 hours?
No, Your Honor.
Have you ever been diagnosed with or treated for any mental illness?
It was so long ago, like at the age of 16, but no, it was nothing really.
Okay. Did you get a copy of the indictment in both of these cases?
I did, Your Honor.
All right, it's my understanding you're going to plead guilty to count 1, which is trafficking a fentanyl-related compound, a felony 2, and then the consolidated count 7, possession of cocaine, a felony 3. Is that your understanding?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
Before I accept your guilty plea, I need to determine that you know and understand the constitutional rights you'll be waiving, the consequences of your guilty plea, and the maximum penalty I could give you. And I need to be satisfied that your guilty plea is being made freely, knowingly, and voluntarily. So I'm going to ask you questions. If you don't understand a question, let me know. If you want to talk to Mr. Mulkey some more, let me know, and I'll give you more time. You understand that?
Yes.
You have a constitutional right to have a trial, either to me or to a jury of 12 Lake County citizens. Do you understand that right?
Yes.
Are you waiving that right?
Yes, I am.
If you go to a jury trial, all 12 members must agree to a guilty verdict before you can be found guilty. Do you understand that right?
Yes.
Are you waiving that right?
Yes, I am.
If you go to trial, the prosecutor will call witnesses to testify against you. Do you understand the prosecutor must prove you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt at a trial?
Yes.
After the witnesses are done testifying for the prosecutor, you have the constitutional right to have your lawyer cross-examine the witnesses. Do you understand that right?
Yes.
Are you waiving that right?
Yes, I am.
If you go to trial, you have the right to have witnesses come here and testify for you. Do you understand that right?
Yes, I do.
Are you waiving that right?
Yes, I am.
If those witnesses refuse to come to court, I'll issue an order called a subpoena to make them come and testify. Do you understand that right?
Yes.
Are you waiving that right?
Yes, I am.
You have the right to testify at trial if you want to. Do you understand that right?
Yes.
Are you waiving that right?
Yes, I am.
You have the constitutional right to not testify at trial if you do not want to. Do you understand that right?
Yes.
Are you waiving that right?
Yes, I am.
If you decide not to testify at trial, nobody is permitted to comment on that decision. Do you understand that?
Yes.
If you go to trial and you're found guilty, you have the right to appeal the guilty finding. Do you understand that right?
Yes.
Are you waiving that right?
Yes, I am.
If you file an appeal, you have the constitutional right to have a lawyer represent you in the appeal. Do you understand that right?
Yes.
Are you waiving that right?
Yes, I am.
If you could not afford to hire a lawyer, one will be provided at no cost to you. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
If you file an appeal, you're entitled to have a transcript of all the hearings in this case. Do you understand that right?
Yes.
Are you waiving that right?
Yes, I am.
If you could not afford to copy those transcripts, they'd be given to you at no cost. Do you understand that?
Yes.
If you plead guilty today, you will not have the right to appeal the guilty finding. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Do you have any questions about any of these rights?
No, I do not, Your Honor.
Do you still want to plead guilty to these 2 counts?
Yes, I do.
Do you understand by pleading guilty, you're fully admitting your guilt to the charges?
Yes, sir.
You understand by pleading guilty to these felonies that you're voluntarily giving up your freedom for whatever period of time I can sentence you to prison or to prison, because it's a mandatory prison sentence. You understand that?
Yes.
Count 1, trafficking in a fentanyl-related compound is a felony 2. It's what's known as a qualifying offense, meaning the range of prison sentence would be from a definite minimum up to an indefinite maximum. The maximum sentence I could give you for a definite minimum is 8 years, and the indefinite maximum is up to 12 years. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Whether you are do any additional time between the definite minimum and the indefinite maximum is up to the Department of Corrections based on the criteria they utilize while you're in the institution. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Count 7 is possession of cocaine, a felony 3, and that carries a maximum prison term of 36 months. Do you understand that?
Yes.
As I indicated, count 1 is a mandatory prison sentence. Do you understand that?
Yes.
There is a mandatory fines in both these cases. On count 1, it's at least $7,500 up to $15,000. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Count 7, it's a minimum $5,000 up to a maximum $10,000. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And Mr. Malky has indicated you've filed or are filing the affidavit of indigency, so those fines eventually will be waived. Now, there's also certain items that you are voluntarily giving up as part of this plea. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Specifically, that was the narcotics, the scale, and $755. Is that your recollection?
Yes, sir.
Now, I could give you a consecutive sentence. That means one sentence after another for the separate offenses. If I gave you a consecutive sentence in these cases, then the definite minimum consecutive would be 11 years and the indefinite maximum would be 15 years. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
And the maximum fine would be $25,000. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Any question about any of the penalties?
No, Your Honor.
Are you currently on post-release control to the parole authority?
No.
You understand your guilty plea may result in a driver's license suspension of between 6 months and 5 years.
Yes.
You understand that your felony conviction will prevent you from owning or possessing a firearm.
Yes, sir.
You understand that upon your release from prison, you will be placed on post-release control for at least 18 months, up to 3 years under the parole authority.
Yes, sir.
They will place conditions on you. If you violate the conditions, they could return you to prison for up to 9 months for each violation, up to 1/2 of my sentence. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
If that violation of post-release control is a new felony, then you could get an additional consecutive prison sentence for that violation. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
If that were to occur, the maximum prison sentence for the violation would be the greater of 12 months or the time left under post-release control. Do you understand that?
Yes.
You understand that during the time of your mandatory sentence, you are not eligible for judicial release.
Yes.
If there is time beyond the mandatory sentence, you would be eligible during that portion of the sentence. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, has anybody promised you I would be lenient on you just because you're pleading guilty today?
No, sir.
There's a joint recommendation that both counsel are asking me to adopt a sentence of 4 to 6 years at the time of sentencing. Do you understand I don't have to go along with that?
Yes, I understand.
Now, have you had enough time to talk with Mr. Mulkey before pleading guilty today?
Yes, sir. I have.
Has he discussed everything about your case and answered all of your questions?
Yes, sir.
Are you satisfied with the advice he has given you?
Yes, sir.
Have you been threatened or coerced in any way to plead guilty today?
No, I haven't.
Are you freely, knowingly, and voluntarily entering your guilty plea?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions?
Just one. I know I'm not eligible for judicial release, as you just stated. Would I be eligible for transitional control?
That's up to the prison system. So I can't necessarily tell you what their rules are.
I do got a stuttering problem, my bad. I apologize. I don't have any more questions, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Geiger, if the case went to trial, what would the evidence show?
Thank you, Your Honor. The evidence would show that the defendant was targeted by Lake County Narcotics by use of a confidential informant. The defendant the evidence would show that on July 31st, 2024, the defendant set a deal with the confidential informant for 200 fentanyl pills for $300. The deal was to occur at Lowe's, located at 36300 Euclid Avenue, City of Willoughby, Lake County, Ohio. The deal did in fact occur. The suspected narcotics were sent to Lake County Crime Lab, where it tested positive for 4-AMPP and fentanyl, 16.25 grams. 21 grams. He was again targeted on multiple other occasions, culminating in the last by January 15th of 2025. The defendant set up a deal with the confidential informant for an 8 ball of crack, an 8 ball of fentanyl, for $400. At the time of the deal, they agreed to less cocaine and more fentanyl. The defendant was traffic stopped immediately following it. He was arrested on warrants for, he had outstanding warrants for his arrest. Was patted down. He had $505 in U.S. currency and a digital scale in his possession. He was placed in the back of a Wycliffe cruiser to be transported. Upon removal of the defendant, an additional $250 was found in the Wycliffe cruiser, and additional drugs were also located. They were sent to Lake County Crime Lab, tested positive for cocaine amount of 10.82 grams. Thank you.
Mr. Mulkey, anything to add to those facts?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Reddick, did you hear what Mr. Geiger said, that the facts would show if the case went to a trial?
Yes, sir.
Are those facts true?
Yes, sir.
All right, what is your plea to count 1, trafficking of fentanyl-related compound, a felony 2?
I plead guilty, Your Honor.
What is your plea to count 7, possession of cocaine, a felony 3?
I plead guilty, Your Honor.
Mr. Mulkey?
Yes, Your Honor.
Approach.
The document we went over in the hallway, you're gonna sign it into place. Sign it here, date it there. Today's the 6/18/25 right there. I'll sign it here. And this is the back part that just kind of summarizes it again. All right, yep. You go ahead and sign there where it says defendant.
Yes, Your Honor.
Accept the written plea of guilty. Defendant was present. Mr. Mulkey advised of all his rights from the knowing, intelligent, voluntary waiver. He understands the nature of the charge and consequence of his guilty plea and the maximum penalty. Find it to be knowing, intelligent, voluntary, will accept his plea of guilty and find him guilty of count 1, trafficking a fentanyl-related compound, a felony 2, and count 7, possession of cocaine, a felony 3. I'm going to refer this for a pre-sentence report. Sentencing will be August 27, 10 a.m. The bond is continued. Anything else, Mr. Geigich?
Nothing, Your Honor. Thank you.
Mr. Mulkey?
Nothing, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right.
You would ex-
Upon bonding out was
Before you on May 14th, and at that time, the defendant
I had to jump in over there a little bit. Saw the time's getting away from me, so I wanted there's a couple that I wanted to throw in right there at the end. The last one's a good one. Here we go with this one.
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Mr. Marine?
Felonies of the 4th degree. During that hearing, a pre-sentence report and drug and alcohol evaluation were ordered. Those have since been completed, and the defendant has 20 days of jail time credit, and there's no agreement as to sentencing. Thank you.
Mr. O'Connor?
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, when I first met Mr. Shupska, upon bonding out, was working to get himself into treatment right away. One of the things Michael and I talked about, just dealing with his history with the courts, as well as his history of drug use, of what's changed. And big thing for Michael is that he's gotten to a point where he's tired of putting himself in this cycle of, over the past 25 years, of putting himself in a position where either he ends up serving time or being on probation, of constantly putting himself in a tough financial position because he's putting all his money towards drugs, to the point where in this case, he was given a ride solely to get drugs. But I do believe in our many conversations over the past few months, Mr. Shupska has reached a point where he does want to make concrete changes to his life so that he's not continuing to be in that cycle. He initially completed care at Glen Bay. Afterwards, he set up IOP as well as MAT with Brightview and has been consistent in going in treatment in regards to them. On top of that, he's going to AA meetings. During this time as well, he's worked to establish a support system, combination of from his AA with his sponsor as well as with his family. One where he currently works for his father's company, and I do believe his father would like to say a few words if the court would give him that opportunity. But Michael is working to stay busy with basically work and treatment so that he does not have any distractions that would cause him to potentially relapse. But I believe, and Michael will be able to share in his own words, that he generally does want to be sober and that he wants to be able to take advantage of this opportunity. He knows with his record that there's only so many chances the court is willing to get, and so we would just ask that he be given this chance to show that he truly can go towards a path of being sober and being a productive member of society.
Thank you. Mr. Shupska, what do you want to tell me?
Sir, same thing as my lawyer has said. I'm just over it. I'm over the drug use. I'm over the lifestyle. I'm over all that. I enjoy going to my meetings and going to work and just coming home and hanging out around my house. That's all I like to do now. And it's been such a struggle in the past, but after I got out of Glen Bay and I learned so much stuff at Glen Bay that it helped me to get focused, you know, to stay the course the way and I have to, for me, I gotta like do things 24 hours at a time. If I don't, then I'll slip, and that's why I just take it one day at a time. It's the best I can do.
What do you do at Brightview?
I do IOP and counseling, and I'm starting the mental health too. They haven't started it yet, but I've been talking to my doctors and my treatment team about doing a mental health evaluation. I haven't started that yet, though. They were getting it set up.
What medication are you prescribed?
Suboxone.
Why is that?
Well, because I was prescribed it for a year ago when I was using heroin at the time, and I just haven't gotten off it yet. They haven't started the weaning down process, so I'm still taking it.
What's the plan for that?
We were discussing me to start weaning off here whenever. Well, my doctor, she's gonna let me know when I'm supposed to start weaning off. I mean, I can tell them I want to start weaning off. I don't really need it anymore, honestly. I just take it because they prescribe it to me, and that's part of the treatment or whatever. I'm just following what they suggested. But I really, honestly, between me and you, I don't really need it anymore. I needed it then, but I don't need it now.
Where do you live?
Geneva.
With who?
With myself.
How long you lived there?
10 years.
Where do you work?
I work for my dad.
Doing what?
Concrete.
How much you work?
40 hours a week. I just left the job. We're doing a parking lot on Vine Street at a car dealership.
Which one?
Huh?
Which one?
Mr. Otto. Mr. Otto.
Well, you've been bouncing around here for 25 years or so, right?
Yes, sir.
So why is this going to be any different? Why should I believe this is going to be any different?
Because I enjoy spending time with my family and my kids. I've had enough. Like I told him, I just do not want that life no more. I just have had it. I don't want anything to do with drugs or that lifestyle or any of those people. I changed my number so that people don't even call me anymore. The only people that have my number is my family and my kids. That's it.
Are you on any of that social media crap?
I have Facebook, but I don't go on it.
Okay. Why do you have it?
Because I've had it. I just had it.
That's how the knucklehead crew will get in touch with you.
Yeah, I could deactivate it. I mean, I don't use it. It's just in my phone, but I don't use it. I haven't even went on it in probably, I don't know, 6 months. I haven't checked my notifications. Because there's just too much dumb stuff on Facebook anyways that I don't like to look at anyways.
Your license valid right now?
Yes, sir. I took care of all that.
All right, Mr. Shupska, you want to say something?
I just said he's been doing a real good job, and he works for us every day, and I really need him. And he's one of our straight edge guys. We strike the concrete off, level and stuff. And I know one of his pastimes is walking his big brown dog around. He has to get up in the morning, and then in the afternoon, and when we get home, he has to walk the dog. He's huge, but he's doing really well.
Okay. When you're doing concrete, what causes the pitting in the concrete?
The what?
Pitting.
Pitting, salt, and moisture. And when the ice hits on it, it'll pop it.
answer that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Huh?
It's because the top part of the concrete is weak, given different reasons. One of them could be it was real hot out and it dried too fast, and it causes these real little microscopic cracks in the surface. The water gets in there, gets between the rock and the mortar on the top, and pops it up.
So that's likely to occur after a winter season? Gets put
Well,
down?
yeah, if it's fresh concrete, it's very important to really seal a lot, get a lot of sealer on it for the first year. Usually the concrete's stronger by the next year. It takes years for it to get completely hard. That's why you'll see some concrete's been in there for years and doesn't seem affected by anything because it got past. Last year was bad. Although
How
I
do you-
didn't have any driveways that I had to do anything about. There are a lot.
What do you do to fix that once it happens? Can you do anything?
Yeah, the concrete or mix quick, I think, mix quick, is that what- whatever it is, they make a bag of stuff and you have to clean it real good and you put it on there and you take a rake and you rake it across, then you smooth it out a little bit and you drag a broom across it. You can fix it.
Over the whole surface or just over
Well, if it's
this?
the whole surface and it's really bad, it's easier just to take it out.
Okay.
Well, you got a bad driveway?
Nope. I saw a neighbor that had a driveway put in last year and they
Yeah.
were trying to fix it.
It was probably from Sibley's. We use, Sibley's is a company. They had 400 driveways last year that messed up. And one of the things that we do to make sure it doesn't, we use the higher content cement. They call it MS 800.
I love how the judge is getting advice on why concrete gets pitted and holes in it.
We use that when we have a driveway. You want to make sure that it holds up. And usually that's enough cement in there to keep it strong enough that it won't.
About
Thank you. The state is recommending community control in this case. It seems like Mr. Shupska is on the right path. This was a borderline case when my office was discussing this, so we hope that he can pull it together and we don't see him again. Thank you.
All right, I've reviewed the pre-sentence report and the drug and alcohol evaluation. I've listened to what everybody has had to say, considered all the applicable statutes. I'm going to place you on community control for 3 years. You're going to serve 20 days in jail with credit for 20. No drugs or alcohol with screens. Continue in your current treatment. Follow all the recommendations. You can see only one doctor and one dentist and one pharmacy for any prescription medication. Take your medication only as prescribed. Sign releases for probation. Attend at least 3 AA meetings a week and get a sponsor. And pay the cost of supervision. Any other terms, Ms.
Thanks, Fletcher boy.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
You understand everything?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You've been here before, so if you violate, you know what happens. If I find you violated, you looking potentially 30, is it a 4 and 2 5s?
3 5s, Your Honor.
3 5, so potentially 36 months in prison. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Anything else, Ms. Bell?
Do you know if did he plead to forfeitures?
Whatever is subject to
Okay.
forfeiture is forfeited.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. O'Connor?
Nothing else, Your Honor.
Okay. Good luck, Mr. Shupska.
Okay. My dad can get.
Your Honor, prior to today, Mr. Ambrose pled guilty to count 2 and count 5 of the indictment. That is a burglary, a felony of the 2nd degree, and an OVI, a misdemeanor of the 1st degree. Your Honor, a pre-sentence report and psychological evaluation were ordered by this court. Those evaluations have been completed. At this time, it is apparent that Mr. Ambrose has been in jail for 81 days since the date of this offense. However, I think the court is aware he's also received that credit on a Painesville municipal court violation, probation violation, I should say. The state has had the opportunity to review the pre-sentence report and psychological report, and the state is prepared to proceed to sentencing here this afternoon.
All right.
Thank you, Your Honor. We're prepared to go forward. Your Honor, my client is 28 years old. He's no stranger to the justice system in general and specifically to this court and specifically to Your Honor. He has served a prior prison sentence, so he knows what that life is all about, certainly. You add to the fact that he's been treating for getting some mental help at Signature Health. He'd like to continue to do that. He began transitioning from female to male at age 19. There's stress from undergoing that sort of procedure and those considerations, and specifically those sorts of stresses, as might be expected, would be reaction from some friends, some associates, acquaintances, and of course, one's own family. So you add that to the plate along with substance abuse with alcohol and cocaine. Alcohol since the age of 18, cocaine since the age of 19. Your Honor, in fact, this incident, there's no question that one of his charges that he pled to was OVI. He was impaired. That means that all of his faculties, including his judgment, was also impaired, involving an individual that he had prior relationship with, an individual named Skyla Tenney. He was going to check on. He had met with her earlier the same day, as a matter of fact. Your Honor, when I asked him how he could have handled this situation differently rather than go somewhere at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, a place where he didn't know anybody, to see that she was there and see how she was doing, he did indicate upon a sober reflection that he should have simply, if he was concerned, called the authorities and have some sort of welfare check done. But he took the matter into his own hand, with his alcohol exacerbating that situation. And here we are today, Your Honor. His game plan for the future is to maintain and focus on a new relationship that he is in with a Danielle Cook. He also is gainfully employed at Hub Plastics in Geneva, Ohio. He did go to Madison High School, graduated in 2015. He'd like to get his license back. Obviously, there was an issue there with his license and getting this OVI, so he'd like to work on that. So he has goals that he'd like to achieve that do not involve him contacting Skyla Tenney. May be hard for the court to believe or even swallow that, Your Honor. So I think it's going to be up to Elliot to see what he can do, or maybe say, or with the court's inquiry, to convince the court that he's not going to be a danger to himself, a danger to society, that he's not going to be showing up at people's houses in the morning to check on friends and acquaintances, and he's going to get the alcohol under control, and he's going to follow any and all court orders. He's had some stutter steps with probation in the past, Your Honor, but each day for Elliot will be a new day and a new opportunity to not screw up on probation if he's given that opportunity. If the court finds that prison is appropriate, then he will have to avail himself of the opportunities there at the correctional facility. But he's already been there, and that didn't seem to work. So he does have a game plan where he'd like to attend Turning Point in Ashtabula through Lake Area Recovery Centers when a bed is available. So perhaps some continued local incarceration until such time as a bed becomes available for that facility. Also, Your Honor, liaison from our office has been in contact with Impact Therapeutics located in Andover. Now, I'm not personally familiar with what services and program that is, Your Honor, but again, he has shown initiative and willingness to do these things, Your Honor, and other than that, I don't really have anything else to say. Certainly, you can have a dialogue with my client, and perhaps he's got some more to say on the subject of his sentencing. But he is asking to not go to prison. Thank you.
All right, what do you want to tell me before I impose sentence?
I would like to tell you that I had no malicious intent on the night of the incident. Prior to that, about a month before, Skyla had called me out of the blue. I hadn't spoke to her in about a year. In that year, I got my license back. In 7 years, I got it back on my birthday. I bought a car. I haven't owned a car in, I couldn't even tell you how many years. I got almost $5,000 out of debt. I was on the right path, and Skyla called me out of the blue about a month before this incident and said that she was having problems with her ex-boyfriend and she needed a place to live, so I had her move into a friend's house, and the day of the incident, she called me and said that she had no food, so I took her and her daughter out to breakfast, and she said she was going home. And about a week before that, every day she was calling me saying this guy was sitting at her job. And that night she said she was going home, and she didn't end up going home. So I took it upon myself to make sure that she was okay. And that is why I'm here today. But I would like a second chance. I think I was on the right path, and every time I talk to Skyla, I come back to jail, so I really, truly do not
No,
want to talk to her.
that's a real shock, isn't it? I mean, how long have you been dealing with this?
For too long, Your Honor. Too long.
And how many times were you told not to have contact?
Too many. Honestly,
Right.
too many. I do know that the last time I was incarcerated, I would pay people so I could use their phone pin to talk to her. I've been incarcerated for 81 days and have not even thought about contacting her because I care about my life more than I do hers. And in the past, I cared about her life more than my own.
So isn't the problem here that you busted in this house and assaulted somebody? You know, how much more serious does it get than that?
Your Honor, I didn't assault nobody.
What did you do? Tell me what you did.
I banged on the door for about 5 minutes. I opened the door because it was unlocked, and I got attacked by the mother. If you look at the pictures, her knuckles were bloody. And I had a black eye. She had no other marks in her knuckles. I let her hit me all she wanted because I didn't know her, and honestly. And then her son pulled out a gun and I left.
You get a different story from her when the police responded. So you never went in the house?
No, I did go in the house one time. I did open the door, and that's why I pled to a burglary, because that's technically a burglary, opening the door. But I walked in the door, and we were both panicked because
Whose house was it?
I don't even know.
Then why did you do it?
Because I thought I truly had the intent that Skyla wasn't okay. Looking back on it, I should have never went.
And you had that thought, why?
Because every day prior she was calling me saying that her ex was sitting at her job and she was afraid, and I worked third shift, so I couldn't do anything to help her.
How did you know where she was?
She would call me and tell me where she was.
She called you that
Oh,
night?
that night?
Right.
I'm sorry. A couple weeks prior to that, she gave me her Snapchat location and said, if anything happens to me, now you have my locations. She was the only person I ever shared locations with.
So what information did you get with regard to that location?
She was at an unknown location.
Okay, so how did you know where to go?
Because in the Snapchat location, you hit the button and say, direct me here. And all you do is have to hit your friend's location, and it'll give you directions on how to get there.
So you showed up at somebody's house, you had no idea who it was. At what time?
It was probably like 3 a.m., Your Honor.
And you go in the house. You demand to go in the house, you go in the house. When the door was open, did you recognize the person who opened the door?
No, I was in complete shock. I think we were both in shock, and I just kept saying, "Where's Skylar?"
I'm sure that Sherry was in shock at 3:48 in the morning.
Yes, Your Honor. I know what it says, but I can promise you, Your Honor, I don't even know her. Why would I lay my hands on her?
I have no idea why you show up at somebody's house
You're
and then go
right.
at 3:48 in the morning either.
You're absolutely right, Your Honor, and looking back on it, I should have never done it.
So this, you've shown an 8-year pattern of
Stupidity.
violence. It's beyond stupidity. Five domestic violences, and now this. You seem unable to control what you're doing, which makes you dangerous. What was the, after you were released from prison on December 14th, 23, what was the domestic violence and child endangering on January 23rd of 24?
Skylar and I had one out for my birthday. And I accused her of cheating on me, and we got into an altercation, and she pulled off my shirt. When the cops came, they gave me a child endangerment with a sexual manner. Because I still haven't got my top surgery. But it was just an argument, sir.
Thank you, Judge. The state at this time, Your Honor, is recommending a prison term of 4 years. Your Honor, we do believe prison is appropriate in this case. Without rehashing all of the facts, I'll just say that the state would submit that the victims in this case and Miss Tenney would have a very different version of how this event went. And the state is concerned that Mr. Ambrose certainly is almost portraying himself as a victim of the homeowner's right to defend their home and defend themselves. And the state is concerned about the lack of recognition here of the true danger and just how dangerous this situation was. But moreover, with respect to why the state believes that the 4-year prison term is appropriate at this time, this situation was a very scary event. It was a very scary situation. It was dangerous. The opportunity here for someone to get hurt was great. Mr. Ambrose seems to not recognize that. It appeared as though he was acting completely out of control. As the court referenced, this was about 3 or 3:30 in the morning, broke into a stranger's home. Now, the homeowner does admit that the door to the home was unlocked, but Mr. Ambrose essentially came into the home in a violent nature, became very aggressive, and was demanding to see Miss Tenney. The homeowner did try. She was actually sleeping on the couch in the living room. She tried to remove Mr. Ambrose. He would not comply with that. Her homeowner's adult son woke up, tried to physically remove him. Mr. Ambrose kept coming back into the house, and finally the homeowner's son had to physically remove him from the home. As far as a gun, Your Honor, what the homeowners tell me is that this was also chaotic for them. They did not have the time to go retrieve a gun. And they were very worried, actually, because the homeowner's 13 or 14-year-old daughter was asleep in just an adjacent room just right around the corner. So the homeowners somehow were able to keep this from escalating to a more violent event. But certainly, going into someone's home at 3:30 in the morning without regard for their right to privacy in their own home, their right to security in their own home, and their right to protect themselves in their own home is a very big concern. The homeowner here reported to me that her neighbors streets away could hear Mr. Ambrose yelling for Miss Tenney. That is how out of control he presented in that moment. And the second thing that the state really thinks is a concern here, Your Honor, is this is an escalation of conduct. Mr. Ambrose started with disorderly conducts, misdemeanor type offenses. Mr. Ambrose has been given many opportunities by this court and other courts. There have been interventions in place. I don't dispute many of the mitigating facts that Mr. Mulkey put on the record. I think all of that is valid. But there have been a lot of people very concerned about Mr. Ambrose and his future and where we go from here. And now I think we're at a point where there might be people in this courtroom that are more concerned about that than Mr. Ambrose himself. It's in his own hands, and at some point there has to be some accountability and there has to be some taking of responsibility for what has happened here. The escalation of criminal conduct over the last 8 years or so is scary, quite frankly, and it's dangerous. So with that said, at this point, Your Honor, given the opportunities that Mr. Ambrose has had in the past, given the events here in this case, state believes that prison is appropriate. We would ask that you impose a term of 4 years, Your Honor. Thank you.
Your Honor, can I say something?
Yep.
Honestly, in any of these cases, I've never been given the chance to do anger management. I can say that 90% of them I was intoxicated of some sort. When I'm not under the influence, I know I'm a good person. And I had 14 months sobriety under my belt. With nothing happened, I was doing good. I don't think prison's gonna do me any better, and I know I was doing good. Like I said, in the last 14 months, I bought a car. I stayed out of the way. I should have never answered Skylar's phone when she asked me for help. I know my record looks terrible, and I'm truly sorry for what escalated that night. I really didn't mean for any of it to happen.
Well, your record is terrible, and it, as Ms. Blake said, does indicate an escalation, and only you can rectify your record. Can't be erased, but you got to rectify it. And as I said earlier, the danger is now you're going into somebody's house that you don't know at 3 in the morning, 3:30 in the morning, and bad things happen when strangers enter into houses at 3:30 in the morning. There's nothing. 100 times out of 100, bad things happen. I reviewed the pre-sentence report and the psychological evaluation. I reviewed letters that have been sent in support for you. I've considered all the provisions in 29, 29, 11, 12, and 13. On count 2, the felony of the second degree, there's a presumption that a prison sentence should be imposed. And the circumstances in this case and the record indicates that you have not overcome that presumption. So on count 2, I'm going to impose a sentence of definite minimum term of 2 years up to an indefinite maximum of 3 years in prison. On count 5, a term of 3 days in jail and a $375 mandatory fine and a 1-year license suspension. When you get out, you'll be on post-release control for at least 18 months, up to 3 years with conditions. If you violate the conditions, a parole authority could return you to prison for up to 9 months for each violation, up to 1/2 of my sentence. If the violation's a new felony, you could get an additional consecutive prison sentence for the violation, the maximum of which would be the greater of 12 months, or the time left under post-release control. The remaining charges are dismissed and the bond is released. Anything else, Ms. Blake?
Your Honor, did you say the fine on the OVI was $375?
Isn't that what is it, 570?
I couldn't hear what you said.
Whatever the minimum is.
Okay.
I think it's 370.
Okay.
Anything else, Mr. Mulkey?
I'm sorry. What were the days in jail with respect to the license, the driver, the?
3 days in jail.
3 days, okay, thank you, Judge. Nothing further.
All right, that's it on that. So he got at least 2 years in jail for it, and I think those crocodile tears is because it's worked in the past. He's gotten away with it for so many times. His record is horrible, and it hasn't changed things before. So, all right, we're gonna get out of here. We will see you it's Sunday, so let's see what we can get done tomorrow. You guys have a great night. Kay, you're gonna have to back it up. Great seeing you, but I got to get out of here. It's that time.
No, I'm totally fine. Like, love it, love it, love it. Can I ask why?